Hello my friends, I hope you are fine, and this is another Astrological Voyages show, and we are going to talk about the spirit of April. We are going to talk about what is going to happen and how people they are going to feel their life. Of course, we're in the midst of a crisis, we're in the midst of a situation which is not very easy. Everyone is afraid, everyone is feeling that things are not working really much. We are under this coronavirus threat and danger, and all of the world is not feeling really well. We are all almost in panic. This is a period that we really need to understand better what really happens, but I think this is also a very important chance to change our life and understand what really happens. So this is about hearing our inner voice, about understanding ourselves, or even changing our lives. But of course this is not an easy situation, and we have to deal with that. This is not an easy situation. This is a difficult situation. This is a situation that has to do with fear, has to do with dealing with yourself. How many people are happy with themselves, and how many people feel that they are in control of themselves? I think this is a very difficult situation, and of course we know that we are in the midst of this crisis. We're having some days and some time to deal with that stuff. This is not the end. I think that the whole April we are going to have to work with that stuff, and this is not going to be easy. But on the other hand, I think that this month is about fixing what is broken. But on the other hand, don't forget that the coronavirus crisis is going also to bring a financial situation crisis. That's why, for example, Donald Trump already said that coronavirus crisis may lead to an even more crisis with much more victims because of the financial situation that is going to happen, because everything is closed. I don't know what happens to your country, but for example in Greece we are in a quarantine, we cannot go out, we have to send specific code from 1 to 6 for special occasions. If you want to go to the supermarkets or to the pharmacy, we have to send a message or write something, a formal form that we are going somewhere. This is a very strict period in our life. I hear that other also nations have the same things. At least now in Greece everything is under control. We do not have many incidents, but this is a difficult situation. I hope every country in the world to find the solution, but of course this is a period that needs us to understand better our life and to understand better what really happens. But if we look closer to the aspects of this month, we are going to understand that the beginning is going to be difficult. In 1st of April 2020 we have Mercury forming a semi-square with Saturn. It is going to affect the second decade of Pisces, 14, 15 and 16 degree and 0 degree of Aquarius. That means of course that we're going to have some problems and some delays, and also we may feel again limited without having the ability to communicate. Mercury Saturn is limitation in transportation and in communication. I think that Mercury Saturn having a semi-square right in the beginning of the 1st of April is the aspect that really speaks to us and tell us that things are going to work with very much difficulty. But I think that also has to do with judgment, has to do with poor judgment, or sometimes when we are depressed we may try to judge things in a very incorrect way. So try to not do things around this period, because problems may arise and you really need to be careful. On the other hand, if we look closely, on the 1st of April 2020 we have Mercury forming a semi-square with Mars, another difficult aspect I think that this aspect has to do with impulsivity. It has to do with irritation. So, you know, it is something that we know from psychological research. When people are secluded and they cannot communicate and we are within four walls, this is a very Greek way of saying something, I'm sorry. But if we are secluded in a house, this means that we may have some kind of mental problems. So if you are into an anxiety, try to communicate with your psychologist and try also to hold your aggressiveness. People are usually more aggressive when they cannot go somewhere, and all of this quarantine is not going to be easy, especially for nations that they are more outgoing. But on the other hand, this is a great opportunity for Pisces of the second decade and the Aquarians of the first decade to understand what really happens in their life, and through sharpness and very quick mind and thought to bring some important solutions to their life. On the other hand, on the 3rd of April 2020, we have Venus entering the sign of Gemini. I think this is a very curious Venus. It's about intellectuality, it's about being restless, and also it has to do with having some joy. I think that this Venus in Gemini is going to bring the first problems in the financial situation, and this is going to be, I think, the date that something good may come finally to the news. I strongly believe that at the end of March, beginning of April, we are going to have some specific news about medicine on this coronavirus, but also some very important scientific news that they are going to help us understand what really happens with that virus, and a lot of things are going to go out to the public. On the other hand, we have this Mercury forming a conjunction with Neptune in 4th of April 2020. This is about obscurity. This is about having a very vivid imagination, but also is about not having control of what you are saying and what you are hearing. You may think that you've heard well, but you didn't. So this Mercury-Neptune conjunction is a problematic situation, has to do with having wrong understanding about things. And the main problem, I think, is that usually with Mercury and Neptune we believe in things that they do not work, and also we are going to have some specific problems with religion and religious beliefs. And on the other hand, the good news is that we are going to appreciate more art and we may be more creative, especially the mutable signs of the end of the second decade, that they have planets around the 18th, 19th and 20th degree of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces. And then we have a very strong and very powerful aspect. I really like this aspect. It is about Venus forming a trine with Saturn. It happens in the 4th of April, on the 4th of April 2020. And I think that this is a great aspect because it's going to bring some stability in personal relationships, but also some help in some financial situations. And perhaps we may have some business opportunities and agreements, even though we are secluded. But I think this is a very good aspect, and this trine in the signs of Gemini and Aquarius is going to bring a lot of joy and perhaps something good, something positive, something great. And then on 4th of April 2020 we have Mercury forming a semi-square with Uranus, and again we have some obstacles and some problems in communication. Try and look what happens in planet Mercury transits in the first 4 days of April. Mercury having a semi-square with Saturn, Mercury having a semi-square with Mars, Mercury forming a conjunction with Neptune, and Mercury having a semi-square with Uranus. This is, I think, the biggest problem a lack of communication, seclusion, quarantine, problems in communication, problems with transportation, problems with media. I think that the first days of this month are really problematic, but as we are going to see later on, Mercury is going to form a sextile with Pluto and Jupiter around the 7th and the 8th of April. So this is, I think, the time that positive outcomes are going to happen. But I don't believe that the coronavirus is going to leave us alone till the beginning of May, which is, I think, the basic opportunity to really feel that we are free. Of course, I think that things around the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of April are going to go a little more easy, but I don't believe that we're going to feel happy and that we can do party. We will not be able to do party for a lot of time. But we have also on the 5th of April 2020 Jupiter forming a conjunction with Pluto, which is, I think, a great aspect. Perhaps some kind of financial help may come to the nations. As you know, the most of the capitalistic system is not right now working. This is going to be a real problem later on because we are having a hit right now in our financial situation. I think that Jupiter-Pluto is about the system trying to hold itself, so we may have some kind of opportunities and help. This is going to bring some great opportunities also for the cardinal signs of the third decanate around the 23rd, 24th and the 25th degree of Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, which is, I think, the signs that they are going to have the biggest opportunities around that period. But of course, don't forget that Jupiter and Pluto is a cycle that has to do with this pandemic, because Jupiter-Pluto is multiplying things. Saturn-Pluto is a negative cycle that brings death and brings fear, but Jupiter-Pluto is the one that multiplies the thing, because we may had also in the past some problems with viruses, but the problem was that the good things, the good news were that we didn't had this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction forming and multiplying things. Right now we have this specific cycle that happens on the 5th of April 2020, and it is the biggest problem, I think, that because it's going to maximize all this situation. But on the other hand, the countries and I think the capitalistic system is going to bring some money to the market in order to things to be in control. And then we have on 6th of April 2020 Mars forming a semi-square with Neptune. I think this is a great aspect, a great opportunity. This is, I think, a great aspect for us to bring some charisma in our everyday life. But on the other hand, Mars is going at the same time to form a semi-square with Neptune and a square with Uranus on 6th and 7th of April 2020. This is not good news. I think that those aspects is about complex situations, about disappointments, and about the need to escape, because Neptune is about escapism, is about getting out of the prison of the mind, or even of our houses, or even of our societies. And we are going to hear a lot of things. We are going to hear many things about what happens, and a lot of stories and a lot of hidden things that are going to come to the public. We are going to hear a lot of things, but at the same time, this Mars forming a square with Uranus is a very difficult situation, and I think this is going to bring a lot of problems with freedom, and I think the people, they are going to be a little revolutionary, but also those impassive actions, they're going to bring a lot of problems to our daily life. So we may have some specific problems in our lives, and then we may have some problems with accidents. So you have planets around the 4th, 5th and the 6th degree of the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius. You really need to be careful. On the other hand, Mercury is forming a sextile with Pluto and Jupiter on 7th and 8th of April 2020. I think those are really pretty good aspects. They are going to help a lot Capricorns, Cancers, Pisces and Virgo of the third decanate. around 24th, 25th, 26th degree. I think it's about good news, and it's about also bringing money to the market and dealing with the problems. I think this is also a period that we are going to hear something really good from people that they work in governments or in this specific area of medicine. But on the other hand, don't expect something so revolutionary till the end of the year, that the medical research institutes, they're going to bring us with something that is going to help us a lot with a vaccine. And then we have on 9th of April 2020, Sun forming a semi-square with Venus. This is about having some problems in our daily emotional life. Venus is in the sign of Gemini. This is about not having proper communication with our beloved ones, and this is going to bring some crisis. But don't forget that Venus is going to form a sextile with Chiron on 11th of April 2020. I think this is a great aspect for Geminis, Sagittarians, Aries and Libras around I'm sorry, I forgot around the 6th degree, 5, 6 and 7th degree. If you have planets around this degree, you are going to have some really positive outcomes in your financial situation, or you may come closer to your beloved one, something that is going to open up your heart. And then we have Mercury entering the sign of Aries on 11th of April 2020. I think things are going to go rapidly from that date, and I think all these problematic communication and problem with going out that happened with this Mercury in Pisces, it is going to be solved in some degree. And from 11th of April 2020 we are going to take some deep breaths, and we are going to feel that we are finally in much more easier situation. And then we have this Mercury forming a sextile with Saturn on 12th of April 2020. I think this is an aspect that is going to bring a lot of work to people about logical thinking and how we can focus on specific projects in order to succeed. People that they have planets on 0, 1st and 2nd degree of Aries, Libra, Aquarius and Leo, they are going really to feel happy, and they are going to communicate with the others. I think this is a great aspect that is going to bring a lot of joy to the people, because this serious communication is going to bring some serious results for your lives, something I think that is going to make you really happy. But on the other hand, on 14th of April 2020 we have this Sun forming a square with Pluto, and it's going to affect the 3rd decade of the cardinal signs, 23rd, 24th and 25th degree of Aries, Libra, Cancer and Capricorn. This is an aspect of crisis, this is an aspect of jealousy, of envy, competition, about sexual attraction also, but also about money. And I think that we are going to have some serious financial problems around that date, so we really need to be really careful around this date, especially for the governments, how they are going to work around the idea of money and how they are going to handle their money. And then we have on 15th of April 2020 and this Sun forming a square with Jupiter, which is about trying to, is trying to pretend that nothing is bad, and you are sending money and you are trying to show that psychology is good, but it is not. So I think it's like we are trying to say to ourselves lies about what really happens, so we may hide behind our own finger and to try to say to ourselves that everything is okay and our financial situation is going to go fine. And this is a positive way of thinking, is not the correct one. It's going to bring problem. And then we have Mercury forming 2 sextiles on 18th, 19th of April 2020. This is, I think, about romance. It's about love. It's about finding new relationships or communicating with the others. I think this is a really good, those are really good sextiles. It's going to bring a lot of joy, and perhaps Aries, Libra, Aquarius and Leo of the second decade, they are going really to be really happy. But also Geminis and Sagittarians, they are going also to be really happy. I think the degrees that they are going to be affected is 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 degree of those signs. Something positive with your romance, with your communication skills, perhaps a harmonious interaction with others, or some rapid progress that you may expect to happen. I think this is very good news. But Sun enters Taurus on 19th of April 2020, and as soon as it gets into the sign of Taurus in the 21st of April 2020, is going to form a square with Saturn. This square is not positive, is about having control in our life, about having obstacles, limitations, problems with our communication, with our self-worth, difficulty on communicating with others, and of course a lot of inhibitions. I think that the fixed signs of the 0, 1st and 2nd degree of Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, they are going to feel really repressed, and perhaps you really need to look carefully of your depression or your melancholy, so try to protect yourself. On 24th of April 2020 we have a semi-square between Sun and Neptune. This is about not being on in contact with reality. I think this semi-square is about miscalculations, about escapism, about misunderstandings and mistakes. We really need to be careful, and if you have planets around the 4th, 5th and 6th degree of Taurus, Scorpio, but also 19, 20, 21 degree of Pisces, this is going to be a really serious situation. And also Mercury is going to form on 25th of April 2020 a square with Pluto, which has to do with obsession, has to do with being very argumentative, and also sometimes having paranoia. So I think we need to be careful of what we are saying, and also try not to be really manipulative. On the other hand, if you are very, very, very strong in your opinion and you really want to change your life, this is the aspect that you're going to use in order to succeed and have this strong will in order to make things happen. And Pluto turns retrograde on 25th of April 2020 in the 25th degree of Capricorn, 24 and 59. This is, I think, a period that things are going to slow in what happens with coronavirus and whatever threat right now it is in the world. We are going to do this retrograde motion of Pluto, as long as Pluto is retrograde, all these things are going to stall, but they are not going to be solved. Things are going to be solved at the end of the year, beginning of 2021. And on 26th of April 2020 we have Venus forming a semi-square with Saturn. This is, I think, a very difficult aspect. Is going to bring some financial problems in Geminis of the second decade, 15th degree, 16th and 17th degree of Gemini, but also 0, 1st and 2nd degree of Aquarius. This is a very difficult aspect, and also this is an aspect of separation and inhibition. And then again Mercury is forming another bad aspect for this month. Overconfidence and too much optimism may bring a lot of problems. I think this square with Jupiter is going to bring some problems in your decisions for the cardinal signs Aries, Libra, Cancer and Capricorn on 24th, 25, 26 and 27th degree of those signs. And then we have on 26th of April 2020 Sun having a conjunction with Uranus. This is about rebelliousness, but it's going also to bring some havoc and perhaps some extreme problems in our life. But I believe strongly that around this date, doctors, they are going to find some solutions and some medicine perhaps that's going to work better for this specific disease. But also I think a lot of new and positive scientific news that are going to help us to have a positive attitude. But on the other hand, this conjunction is really problematic for the financial situation. Don't forget, Uranus in Taurus is a very difficult position for money matters, and this is going to be a real problem. On 27th of April 2020, we have Mercury entering the sign of Taurus. It's about having a much more slower way of thinking, but also it's about being serious. The problem is that as soon as it enters the sign of Taurus on 28th of April, it's going to form a very difficult square with Saturn. That is going to happen in the 0, 1 and 2nd degree of the signs of the fixed cross, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius. This is going to be about inhibition again, seclusion, problems with communication, delays, problematic situations and all of that stuff that is going to bring a lot of havoc again. Don't forget that we begin with a semi-square of Mercury and Saturn, and we end up on 28th of April 2020 with a square between Mercury and Saturn. The communication is the biggest problem between people around this period. But also in 29th of April and on the 13th of April 2020, we have again Mercury forming semi-squares with Venus and Neptune. Again, problematic situations. We may have all these difficult way of understanding what really happens, misperception, confusion or even deceit in our personal emotional situation, because Venus is also having this communication with Mercury and Neptune, and it is going to bring a real problem. So this is a month of a problematic communication. That's why I believe that the whole month a lot of people that are going to be in quarantine. Of course, we may have some financial support, but at the end we are going to have also some problem. And also this is also a month that is going to help us to develop some better understanding for the other, and for some people we may have some chances in forming something new as a new personal relationship. If you have any question, you can just send me a message right now in the video, and I'm going to answer to you as soon as possible. Thanks very much, ISAR Astrology, the ISAR page, for having this show. Thank you all of these people that you are hearing my show every Monday. Unfortunately, we had a connection problem and happened this day, and of course we are going to be back again in the next week. Don't forget that ISAR conference is still up, and you can find more fascinating lectures about this upcoming conference that we're having this September. Thank you very much for your time, and we are going to be together again the next Monday for United States. For Greece is 1 a.m. Tuesday. Bye bye. Thank you for your time.